Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my second video about what's wrong with Black Widow. And I think probably the first thing that's wrong with it is that when I accidentally deleted the first video, I had no real urge to re-record the video. It's simply not worth it. Now, while I know that there's a lot of channels that review fast food, they don't review the same old food when it's just in a new wrapper. And that's what we've got here. There's this phrase, late stage capitalism, and it feels like only 10 years into Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's late stage Marvel. I've been watching the Marvel movies. I used to hate Iron Man 2, and now I really like it, and I love Iron Man 3. And in 10 years, we went from Jon Favreau, Joss Whedon, and Shane Black to a bunch of nobodies who a Marvel movie is their third credit on IMDb. Who is the director of Black Widow? Would you have guessed a 53-year-old Australian woman whose last movie made $750,000 at the box office? Why? It's because they're cheap as hell. Black Widow is okay-ish to nobody cares. A lot of my normie friends completely skipped Shang-Chi, but they all saw Black Widow. And these are friends like I don't talk about geek stuff a lot. And they would specifically bring up Black Widow in that this is the movie where the magic was lost, or they finally realized it's not there anymore. When I recorded the first version of this review, Scarlett Johansson had just launched her lawsuit, and now it's been settled. But I totally understood why she launched the lawsuit, because this was work, man. There is no art in this movie. There is no joy in this movie. This is 6 months of negotiation, 6 months of showing up to the set at 6 in the morning, and then 6 months of re-recording stuff, and what do they call it when you do the voiceover all over again? A couple months of promotion. That was work. And like Han Solo says, I'm not here about your revolution. I expect to be well paid. And that's what she expected. The movie is odd. Very, very odd. In fact, I would say the most odd thing is that it's 4 different movies, often at the same time, often during the same scene. You have pretty much a straight-up sitcom starring David Harbour. You have some really low-grade Marvel formula stuff starring Scarlett Johansson and Belova, her sister. I forget the actress's name. And then you've got some generic bad guy plans, floating evil fortress, generic fight scene, generic everything. Oh my gosh. I would say one thing that was not generic was how bad the writing was. I mean, it was really bad. At one point, Black Widow is on the run, international fugitive. But then they want to do all this like cutesy sitcom humor with her and her sister. So the sister makes fun of that pose that Black Widow does whenever she lands. Except for the sister has basically spent all of her life as a slave who started as a child soldier, and then she gets cured by magic dust that instantly removes all your brainwashing. Not that you had to constantly breathe it in gas to be brainwashed, but literally exposed to one puff of ninja dust, and you're just like a regular person making normie jokes. There's no consistency of tone, of emotion, of humanity. Scarlett Johansson is very obviously miserable. David Harbour is the only one having fun. And by the way, if you're gonna have a bunch of Russian characters, could we have one actor or actress who can consistently pull off a convincing Russian accent? Please? Oh my gosh. So the original version of this video was much, much longer, but it's basically what I said. After some truly talented men created the Marvel Universe, they're now getting woke and diversifying, which means they get to hire people for pennies on the dollar. I read somewhere that these like Z-grade diverse directors they're buying. I meant to say hiring, and then I said buying, but that kind of fits. They're getting $300,000, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. Yeah, from like the first interview until the movie goes into theaters or onto streaming, that's 2 years of work. 2 years of work massive amount of work for $300,000, which, you know, take out fees and accountant and agent and manager and all that type of stuff. They're basically paying what, you know, a dental hygienist in LA would make over the same amount of time. They're hiring cheap talent, and they are absolutely getting what they pay for. Oh, by the way, were you really curious how Black Widow got that vest that she had in Nobody Cares? Wow, that's a major subplot of this entire movie. Yeah, it wasn't funny, it wasn't fun, and the obsessive need to focus the Marvel Cinematic Universe towards normie moms. It's like, hey, do you remember the Countess from Nick Fury? No, you've never heard of her? Well, do you remember Julia Louis-Dreyfus? How would you like to see her with a purple streak in her hair, playing a character that she's never heard of, making garbage tears sitcom jokes at a gravestone? No, none of this makes any sense? Yeah, that's I saw this on Disney Plus. Yeah, I got Disney Plus again. My protest lasted for 6 months. I didn't have to pay extra for it, so I wasn't really bothered. But if I would have gone to a theater and paid all those exorbitant costs, yeah, I would have been pissed. This is a very cold, calculated movie in which they take a bunch of off-the-shelf parts, pay one actress well, although she had to launch a lawsuit to get the full amount of money, pay everyone else chump change, and you get what you fucking deserve. The thing is that all of these things are, you know, kind of downstream from each other. As someone pointed out, Captain Marvel benefited because it was seen as being necessary to see the final, you know, Avengers movie. But this is absolutely unnecessary, as is Shang-Chi, as is Eternals. I don't even know, what is the Doctor Strange movie? I like the first Doctor Strange, I'll see that. But yeah, it just feels like all of the art and soul have gone out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now it's just a grim assembly line of product created by people who make as much money as a dental hygienist does in Los Angeles. So anyway, thanks for watching. I am rewatching all of the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, although not in a row for some weird reason. And I gotta say one thing. They all stitch together a lot better than I thought they did when you would see them, you know, years apart from each other. There are elements that are introduced in the first one that pay off in the third and the fourth, and it's quite good. That being said, the idea of going to a theater and sitting in a sad, empty theater, no, I think I'm just gonna wait until No Time to Die is on streaming in a couple months, even if it's that premium where you gotta pay $25. The theater experience is just, in my head, it's so sad. And I've talked to people who actually have gone to theaters since lockdown ended, and they go, yeah, it's just as bad as you think it is. Like, it's super depressing. I had one friend who said straight up, he goes, the only reason I go to see movies in the theaters is because I really like slushies. And I was like, that is. For some reason, like, every slushie machine in the entire county down here is broken except for the one at the movie theater. And it's like, I mean, I like slushies, but to be in a sad, you know, theater that looks like it's shut down already and they just forgot to tell everyone, yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait till December or whatever to see that next James Bond movie. Although I will see, I kept telling myself, I was like, oh, I'm gonna see Dune in the theaters, I'm so excited, and then Dune came out, and it was, people are just like, hey, Dune's out. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm halfway through, how is it? It's okay. It's not really gonna get me in the theaters to tell me it's just okay. Anyway, thanks for watching, bye.